Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Shubhangi Insights. So today we will be doing the last topic, measures of skewness. Already seen what is measures of central tendency and what are the measures of dispersion. Now this is the last topic, which is measures of skewness. Now in measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion, we have seen that for the entire set of data, there is a single value which represents the answer for the given observations. But what if the single value which we get can be same for two sets of distribution? What I mean by this, for example, you have two set of data and the mean and standard deviation is same for both the set of data, but the distribution, the shape of the data might differ in both the cases. In order to see whether the shape is symmetrical or not, we find out measures of skewness. Now, what do you understand by the term skewness? Skewness refers to the lack of symmetry or it is asymmetry. So what we usually understand by symmetry, for example, if you have a paper and you fold it and you open it again, it is equal on both the sides, right? So that is called as symmetry. So in case of graph also, when we take a bell-shaped graph and we show that and we cut it from the center into two parts, we see that what is on the left is on the right side. The amount of data on the left will be equal to the amount of data on the right. But if the data is not equal on both the sides, maybe one side is a little more or the other side is a little less, depending on that, those kind of graphs or data or the observations are called as skewed graphs. So that's the reason we call this as asymmetry or lack of symmetry, lack of skewness. Okay. Now, what are the different measures or what are the ways of calculating this skewness? For comparison, it is necessary to have relative measures of skewness. As we have already seen in case of measures of dispersion, there are two types, right? One is absolute and another one is relative. But in case of skewness, we are only interested to find the relative measures. So those relative measures will be calculated with the help of these different formulas. So these relative measures of skewness are known as measures of skewness. So let us see what are the different formulas using which we will be able to find out whether the data given to is positively skewed or negatively skewed. There can be two cases. If the value is positive, it will be called as positively skewed. If the value is negative, it will be called as negatively skewed. So in order to get that positive or negative, these are the different formulas to calculate. Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness, and second is Bowley's coefficient of skewness. Now, Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness will be taking into account your mean, median, mode, and standard deviation formula. And coming to the Bowley's coefficient of skewness, it will include your quartiles, which we have already seen in the previous videos. We have already calculated how to find out mean, median, mode in the measures of central tendency and your quartiles in case of measures of. This is the first measure of skewness. Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness. Now, this is the formula for this. We denote skewness with the letter S, the first letter. And for Karl Pearson, we have denoted that by Kp. So, by this, we understand this is the formula for skewness for Karl Pearson, which is equal to mean minus mode by standard deviation. So, here I have mentioned X bar is nothing but your mean, Z is your mode, and sigma is a standard deviation. So, we need to calculate all the three and then substitute in the formula in order to get the skewness in case of Karl Pearson. But what if mode is not given to you or mode is not defined? In that case, we will be using median. When mode do not exist or it is ill-defined, median comes into the picture. Skewness for Karl Pearson will become 3 times mean minus median by standard deviation. Here M is nothing but a median. So depending on the question what is asked, you're supposed to choose the formula accurately. In case mode is given, you will go with the mode formula. In case mode is not given, we are supposed to take median formula. That you will see in the set of questions done. Now, what is the value of Karl Pearson's coefficient? The value of Karl Pearson's coefficient lies between -1 and +1. This is very important to know. In case of measures of central tendency and dispersion, there was nothing such like this has to be the value or the boundaries are this much. But in case of skewness, there are some boundaries defined that your number or the value which you get after calculating the answer has to lie between -1 and +1. And let us see the next measures of dispersion, which is Bowley's coefficient of skewness. Now again, For skewness, we denote it by S. And in case of Bowley, it is B. So we denote it by SB. So SB is equal to Q3 plus Q1 minus 2Q2 divided by Q3 minus Q1. So here, what are our Q1, Q2, Q3? Q1 is the first quartile, Q2 is the second quartile, and Q3 is the third quartile. Depending on the question given, we are supposed to calculate all the three quartiles and then substitute back into the formula and get the answer. Now here again, the value of Bowley's coefficient has to be between minus 1 and 1. After calculating your answer, you will see that the value has to be under the range of minus 1 to plus 1 in case of skewness. So skewness, it's like a plus point that you know whatever answer you're calculating, is it lying between minus 1 and plus 1? In case if it is above those numbers, your answer is right. Let us look at the problems now. The mean and mode of weekly wages of a group of workers are rupees 45 and 36 respectively. If standard deviation is 80, find the coefficient of skewness. They have directly asked us to find a coefficient of skewness from the data given to us. So, let's write down whatever is given in the data. The mean X bar is equal to rupees 45. Mode, which is Z, is equal to rupees 36 and standard deviation, which is equal to rupees 18. And what are they asking us to find? Coefficient of skewness. Now we know there are two formulas for coefficient of skewness. One is your Karl Pearson and the other one is your Bowley's. Since mean, median, standard deviation are given, so obviously we will be taking Karl Pearson's formula. But in Karl Pearson also we have two things. If mode is given, we will apply mode formula. If median is given, we will be applying median formula. But in this case, we have mode given to us. So we will apply the formula X bar minus Z by standard deviation or sigma. Okay. Now let's substitute the values, which is 45 minus 36 divided by 18. And the answer is 0.5. So this is the answer for skewness Karl Pearson. Let us look at the next question. Calculate Kp, coefficient of skewness. Kp is again Karl Pearson. Coefficient of skewness if mean, median and standard deviation is given to you. So let us write down first whatever is given to us. So the mean is 23. Median they have given, which is 25. And standard deviation, which is 10. So now they're asking us to find Karl Pearson. So already it is mentioned Karl Pearson to be used. But in Karl Pearson again we have two, median one and mode formula. But in this case median is given. So we will be applying Karl Pearson formula for median. Mean minus median by standard deviation. So 3 times mean is 23. Median is 25 divided by 10. Which is 3 into minus 2 upon 10. Minus 6 upon 10. Minus 0.6. So in this case also, we have the value in negative terms. As we have already seen, the range lies between minus 1 and plus 1. So it is lying between the range. So this answer is right. Or you can call this answer to be negatively skewed. In the previous question, we had positive value. So that could be called as positively skewed. And here in this case, since negative mark is attached, you can call this as to be negatively skewed. Let us see the next question. The mean of a distribution is 50. Its standard deviation is 50. And the coefficient of skewness is minus 1. Find the median. So here let us write down whatever data is given to us first. So given mean is 50. Standard deviation is 50. Measures of skewness. Since they are talking about mean, median or mode and all these things are given, so it will be Karl Pearson, which is minus 1. And they are asking us to find the value of median. So we know which formula to apply. Karl Pearson for median. 3 times mean minus median divided by standard deviation. Let us substitute the values. Mean skewness is minus 1. 3 times mean is 50. Median they are supposed to find. Divided by standard deviation is 15. So let us cross multiply. 3 into 50 minus m is equal to minus 15. It is better to take on the left side the one which you are going to find. In case here we are going to find the variable m. So we will keep it on the left and push the other terms to the right side. So here 150 will open the bracket. So you need to multiply first term with this and then again with the second one. Minus 3m is equal to minus 15. We will send other terms to the other side. Minus 15 minus 150. So which is minus 3m is equal to minus 165. Since there is minus on both sides, it gets cancelled and we will transfer this 3 to the other side. In case it is multiplication, where it goes to the right side, it becomes division 165 by 3. So the answer is 55. So this is the answer for median in this particular question. Let us look at the next question. In a distribution, sum of lower and upper quartiles is 40 and the difference is 16. In this case, they are talking about the quartile. So obviously, we will be doing Pauli's coefficient of skewness. If median is 18, then find coefficient of skewness. So let us write whatever they have given us in the question. Now, sum of lower and upper quartiles, sum, which is Q3 plus Q1 is equal to 40 and the difference Q3 minus Q1 is 16 and median. Median is called as Q2, okay, which is 18. You can mention there median means second quartile, Q2 quartile, which is equal to 18. Now then find coefficient of skewness. So we will be applying Pauli's coefficient of skewness, which is Q3 plus Q1 minus 2Q2 divided by Q3 minus Q1. So all the data is given to us. We just need to substitute it. Now Q3 plus Q1 is 40 minus 2 times median is 18. 2 into 18. Q3 minus Q1 is 60. So 40 minus 36 by 16, which is 4 upon 16, and the answer is 0.25. So this is the answer. So as we can see, this also is lying in the range of -1 to +1. So the answer which we have got is right, and this is positively skewed. Let's see the next question. In a distribution, the first quartile is 142 and semi-interquartile range is 18. If the distribution is symmetric, then find the second quartile. So since they are talking about quartile, so obviously we are going to apply Pauli's coefficient of skewness. So let's write whatever is given first. First quartile, which is Q1, is equal to 142. And next we have told semi-interquartile range. So as we have already talked about interquartile range and semi-interquartile range in the previous videos, which is Q3 minus Q1 upon 2. It is semi, so divided by half is equal to 18. So from here, we already know Q1 is 142. So Q3 minus 142 by 2 is equal to 18. So Q3 minus 142 is equal to 36 and Q3 value is goes and becomes plus 178. So the answer for Q3 is 178. So we have got the value of Q1 and Q3 and we are supposed to find out second quartile, the value of Q2. There is a condition for symmetry. When your data is symmetrical data, Q3 minus Q2 is equal to Q2 minus Q1. Okay. Now using this formula, we will be getting the value of Q2. Since we need Q2, so let me take that on the left side. Q2 minus Q2 is equal to minus Q3 minus Q1. We can take minus on the both sides, right? And it gets cancelled. So here it is minus 2Q2 is equal to minus of Q3 plus Q1. Minus gets cancelled. So 2Q2 is equal to Q3 plus Q1. And since we have to just get the value of Q2, so I'll send 2 to the other side. Q3 plus Q1 by 2. Let's substitute in the values, which is 178 plus 142 upon 2. The answer for this is 160. So skewness, Pauli's coefficient of skewness was given. You would have taken the Pauli's coefficient of skewness formula and substituted and got a Q2 value like the previous question. But in this case, Pauli's coefficient value was not given. So we used different formula, which was for the symmetric distribution. which is Q3 minus Q2 is equal to Q2 minus Q1. Using this formula, we were able to calculate the answer for Q. Let us look at the next question. Calculate Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness from the following data. Now here, value is given to us, frequency is given to us, and they're asking us to find Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness. So the formula for this is, again, SKP is equal to mean minus mode by standard deviation. So I've applied mode formula, mean minus mode by standard deviation. Now we need to calculate mean, mode and standard deviation for which data? For our discrete data. This is your x value, this is your frequency value, and this is and the data which will the formula which will be calculated will be for discrete data. So we'll start off with the mean. Mean is equal to summation f into x by summation f, or capital N. So in this case, first we need to multiply frequency into x, get the total of it, and then take the total of frequency. So after multiplying f into x, the values are 24, 84, 162, 432, 450, 360 and 210. And the total of this is 1722. And also we need the total of frequency, which is 68. So now, substituting back in the formula, 1722 divided by 68, we are going to get 25.32. So this is the answer for mean. Now we need to calculate the mode. Now what is the mode for discrete data? It is nothing but the value of x corresponding to the highest frequency. Now what is the highest frequency here? 18. So what is the value of x corresponding to 18, which is 24. So the mode is 24 in case of discrete data. Now we need to find standard deviation. So standard deviation is equal to under the root fx square by summation f minus summation fx by summation f, or capital N, anything, the whole square. Now for this we need to take a column of f into x square. So we will calculate that particular column, f into x square. We need to square this value and then multiply with the frequency. So the values are 144, 1008, 2916, 10368, 13500, 12960, 8820, and we need to take the total of this, which is 49716. Now by taking the total, let's substitute this in the formula again. 49716 by total frequency is 68 minus summation fx, which is 1722 by 68 the whole square. Okay. Now by calculating this, we get 731 by dividing the first term and then dividing the second term and taking the square. We get 641.102. And the root value of this after subtracting is 90.016. And taking the root value, it is 9.488. So this is the value of standard deviation. So since we have got all the three, mean, mode and standard deviation, let us substitute back in the formula and get the answer. So the answer for SKP is equal to mean is 25.32 minus mode is 24 and divided by standard deviation is 9.488. So the answer for this after dividing is 0.139. So this is the answer for standard deviation for Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness. Here again the value is positive, so we can write this is positively skewed. The distribution is positively. Let us look at the next question. Calculate Bowley's coefficient of skewness for the following data. Number of children per couple is given 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how many real families have these many children? Which, this is the data given along with this. Now they are asking us to calculate Bowley's, which is again based on quartiles. So SB is equal to Q3 plus Q1 minus 2Q2 divided by Q3 minus Q1. In order to calculate quartiles, we need to know which kind of data is given to us. So here we have again X column along with the frequency. So when you have X along with the frequency, it is your discrete data. Now, for discrete data, we are supposed to calculate the quartiles. Now, first we'll calculate Q1. So the formula for Q1 is 1 into capital N plus 1 by 4th observation. So capital N is nothing but sum of frequency. So let's calculate what is the total of frequency. So here we have the total as 59. Let us substitute this. 59 plus 1 by 4th observation. And the answer is 60 by 4th observation. And the number is 15th observation. So how should we find 15th observation? So in this particular case, we are supposed to calculate LCF column, which is your least cumulative frequency column or cumulative frequency column, and get the value of this particular observation. So first value will remain same, 6. Next you need to keep on adding 21, 46, 54, 58 plus 1, 59. So now where does this 15th observation lie? Between 6 and 21, but the highest is 21. So we will be considering this entire one as Q1 class. And the value of Q1 is 1. So here the value of Q1 is 1. Now let's calculate the value of Q2. Q2 is equal to again 2 into capital N plus 1 by 4th observation, which is 2 into 15th observation, which is 30th observation. The 30th lie again between 21 and 46, but the highest is 46. So this becomes a Q2 class. So this is the value of Q2. So Q2 is equal to 2. Now again, we need to calculate the value of Q3. 3 into capital N plus 1 by 4th observation, which is again 3 into 15th observation, which is 45th observation. Now where does 45 lie? It lies again in 46 because highest is this. So again this is your Q3 value. So Q3 is equal to again 2. Now we got all the values of Q1, Q2, Q3. Let us substitute back in the formula. So SB is equal to 2 plus 1 minus 2 into 2 divided by 2 minus 1, which is 3 minus 4 by 1, which is minus 1. So the value of Bowley's coefficient of skewness is minus 1, which again lies between the range of plus 1 and minus 1. So here we can call this as to be negatively skewed. So this is the answer. So this is how we calculate the questions for skewness, either Karl Pearson or Bowley's. Depending on what data is given to you in the question, make a note of it and apply the formula suitably. So thank you guys for watching out this video. In case you have any doubts related to these topics, you can comment them out and let's clear them in the next class.